tonight. Buhari tax parents on cultural values. Buhari must be told he failed woefully autumn. If Buhari fails to release Nnamdi Kanu, I will appeal to Tinubu. Soludo. Senate in emergency plenary over CBN Act amendments. May 29, Lai Mohammed, agri ministers bow out, thank Buhari. Desiani sues EFCC, AGF demands 100 billion naira as damages for defamation. And on sport, Flying Eagles gets $1,000 each for win against Italy. You are watching the news from BGI TV Current. I am Rrør Rabila Lawa. Now the news in detail. President Muhammad Buhari has emphasized the need for parents and society to preserve the core cultural values and identities that have always guided what is acceptable ways and character. In his Children's Day message, Buhari urged parents and children to hold on to the ancient truth of integrity, honesty, knowledge, and hard work in spite of the changing times, saying these landmarks remain the pillars of destiny. According to a statement by a special advisor on media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, the president charged Nigerians not to lose faith in the ability of government to always protect and safeguard citizens, including children, noting that his administration had focused on the welfare of children, and in the circumstances of those that are targets of violence by terrorists, government has been working to retrieve. On this special day, we are immensely grateful to God for another opportunity to celebrate our children on May 27, 2023. Every Children's Day reminds us of the future and the necessary sacrifices and building blocks by parents, guardians, teachers, leaders, and government to secure our greatest asset on earth, the younger ones. As a father and grandfather, I share in the joy that children bring into our lives and the fulfillment of seeing them grow. And I also feel the pain of loss, anxiety, and frustration that comes with uncertain times, like the disruptions to families due to insecurity, which we have worked hard to contain in the last 8 years. He admonished parents to treat their children with dignity while staying focused on discipline. Every child is special and should be specially treated with dignity. Benue State's Governor Samuel Ortom has described the regime of the President Major General Muhammad Buhari retired as the worst in the history of Nigeria, saying the outgoing president must be told that he failed woefully and Nigerians are feeling the impact of that failure because we are all suffering. He said the president plunged the country into unimaginable poverty and insecurity, unlike what used to flourish under his predecessor, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Speaking at the commissioning of the headquarters of the Benue State Community Volunteer Guards, BSCGs in Makurdi, Ortom said that Buhari took Nigeria from top to bottom, making life miserable for all Nigerians. We also know that what our exchange rate was at the time and what it is today. The fact is that never in the history of Nigeria did we experience this kind of bad governance in the country. Corruption is so endemic in this government, yet people who steal chicken are thrown into prison. But people in government who are busy stealing the wealth of the people are working freely. The president recently apologized to Nigerians. We accept the apology, but he must be told that he failed woefully, and Nigerians are feeling the impact of that failure because we're all suffering. Ortom also lamented the refusal of Buhari to curb the excesses of the armed Fulani herdsmen and designate them a terrorist organization for being responsible for the killings in the country. The president told us he is retiring to tend to his cattle. Is it because he is returning to be a header that he failed to deal decisively with herdsmen? The governor assured that he would continue to speak out against injustice in the country. Going on to the next story. The governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, says he will shift attention to the incoming government of Bola Tinubu if his appeal for the release of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, is not granted by President Muhammadu Buhari. Soludo has repeatedly appealed to President Buhari to release Kanu, who has been in the custody of the Department of State Services, DSS, since his arrest in July 2021. with his latest appeal coming in a letter to President dated April 20th, 2023. Speaking on Channels Television's Politics Today, Governor Soludo said a call for Kanu's release is a course he believes in, adding that his latest letter was also copied to the president-elect. This is a course that one believes in. Consistently, I am an advocate of the rule of law and justice for all, and therefore, if you look at that letter is copied to the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I want to also believe that a copy has been delivered to his office as it were. Asked what his interest is seeking Kanu's release, the governor said it is about long-term sustainable peace and security, as well as the development of the Southeast region. He also lamented the sit-at-home order observed in the Southeast every Monday, which he claimed Kanu supporters introduced as a way to press for his release.
Therefore, if you look at that letter is copied to the president-elect. Okay, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is in the copy of this letter. And I want to believe that a copy has also been delivered to his office, as it were. The Attorney General is also copied on this letter. And if the President Buhari's administration fails to take advantage of this particular, I call it an opportunity to really rise above every other thing and be a statesman, as it were. If the president fails to, take advantage of that, we will be pursuing the same thing with the incoming administration.
Dr. Soludo, yeah. So my question now will be, those who are asking, what is your own interest in seeking for Nnamdi Kanu's release?
Our own interest is simple: peace and security. Long-term, medium to long-term sustainable peace and security and development of the Southeast.
And you think that Nnamdi Kanu continue detention is linked to insecurity in the Southeast? For example, the attack on some of the staff and the killing a few days ago of some police officers attached to the U.S. Embassy staff in your state. There was also a similar kind of
The Senate is presently in emergency plenary over the amendment of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2004. The plenary was fixed for 10 a.m. on Saturday, which has gone, but the session started a few minutes past 11 a.m. According to the other paper, the bills up for debate are a bill for an act to amend the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act and for other matters connected therewith, 2023. Second reading, Senator Gobir Ibrahim Abdullahi, Sokoto Southeast. Also, a bill for an act to amend the Central Bank of Nigeria Act C4, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 004, and for other matters connected thereto, 2023. Second reading, Senator Gobir Ibrahim Abdullahi, Sokoto East Senate Leader. The Punch report that the sitting days for the Senate plenary are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Going on to the next story. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, and the Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Mahmoud Abubakar and Mustafa Babashi Huri, have bowed out of service as they thank Buhari for giving them the opportunity to serve as ministers. This action is to give way to the new government, which will be inaugurated on May 29th this year, during a valedictory meeting held at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The former minister, Dr. Abubakar, while handed over to the permanent secretary, said the achievement recorded in the agricultural sector during his stay as minister became possible following the support from President Muhammadu Buhari. He said the staff of the ministry were supportive of his policies in driving the agricultural sector, and many feats were recorded within the 4 years he oversaw the ministry. While urging the staff of the ministry to support the incoming minister, he stated that he will not continue to support the growth of the agricultural sector in his own little way as a stakeholder in the sector. In the same vein, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, during a sent-forth dinner organized by the Ministry of Information and Culture, said the gathering marks the end of an era, which started on November 11, 2015, when he assumed office as the Minister of Information and Culture. He said he served during a period marked by great challenges and great opportunities. I want to urge you all to please extend to my successor the same warm cooperation that you gave me and my team during my tenure. Please permit me to end thanking Mr. President for finding me worthy to hold this office for a record-breaking tenure. Going on to the next story. A former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Desiane Alison Madueke, has filed a defamation lawsuit against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over a series of publications by the Commission alleging that she stole billions while in office. The court document filed on May 26 and seen by the Gazette on Friday said the Anti-Graft Authority had authored several reports in the manner that portrayed the former official as a common looter of the national wealth and a debased and corrupt public officer. The publications are blatantly false and misleading, she said in the suit. Mrs. Alison Madueke is a claimant and the EFCC is a sole respondent, while the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, Abubakar Malami, is a second defendant in the suit. The EFCC chair, Abdurrashid Bawa, had in May said that $153 million and over 80 properties had been recovered from Mrs. Alison Madueke. Mrs. Alison Madueke is believed to have fled to the United Kingdom after leaving public office as the petroleum minister, a position she held between 2010 and 2015 under former President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. She is being investigated for money laundering in the UK, an investigation many anti-corruption activists have described as taking too long. In Nigeria, the EFCC has named her in various corruption trials whilst properties worth billions of naira have been seized from her. She has since filed several lawsuits against the Anti-Graft Authority, demanding the return of her assets, which were taken in non-conviction proceedings. She had also in January filed a lawsuit before the Federal High Court in Abuja to vacate an order obtained by the EFCC for the final forfeiture of her seized assets. But in a fresh lawsuit, Mrs. Alison Madueke demanded a sum of 100 billion naira as damages against the EFCC for the false publications. We go to the next story. Locals in Briningwari town in Kaduna State have reported a terrorist fled from neighboring Zamfara state, surrendered the town and abducted several residents. The incident reportedly happened on Thursday night in the Gobirawa area of Briningwari, which is near the NTA Briningwari. The area is less than 500 meters from an Air Force base field. The chairman of Briningwari Local Government Council, Abdullahi Ibrahim Mohammed Amir, issued a warning to residents of the area to limit their movement within the entire Briningwari Emirate. The warning was issued after a meeting with the Emirate Council and security agencies in the area. The chairman stated that all forms of movement, whether on foot, bike, or vehicle, were prohibited in Emirate starting from 8:30 p.m. Then Masani Briningwari and former managing director of the Kaduna State Media Corporation, Al-Aji Zubair Abdurrahuf, who spoke to journalists on Friday evening, said that when I said early this month that terrorists were closing in on Briningwari, many people did not believe me. Abdurrahuf expressed his dismay that the terrorists had the audacity to enter the main town of Briningwari and carry out their evil act. He criticized the government for not addressing the issue of security in Briningwari and suggested that a security summit be held in the area. From Kaduna State, we go to the next story. A herbalist by the name Isiaka Ogunkoya has been arrested by the Osun State Police Command for murdering a pastor identified as Kalejaye Ezekiel for ritual purposes after he came to him seeking for spiritual powers. The 48-year-old herbalist had confessed to this after he met his Waterloo while on his way to Isenyi area of the state. He had been caught with several human parts which he confessed belonged to the pastor who he had come to seeking magical powers. From that story from Osun, we go to the foreign story. Former Kenya President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be a unifying force in Nigeria. That is, a uniting force in Nigeria. He gave the charge in Abuja on Saturday during the presidential inauguration lecture ahead of Tinubu's swearing-in. Kenyatta believes since elections are over, the onus lies on Tinubu to unite every Nigerian, irrespective of religion, tribe, political, and other affiliations. The contest is now over, and the hard work of building a prosperous and unified Nigeria now begins. he said as a keynote speaker during the event. Upon assuming the office of president, you would be wise to transcend from the tactical politics of an election and assume your role as Nigeria's vision bearer. This will demand a complete overhaul of the adversarial mindset that we as politicians are conditioned to embrace during the electoral process. As president, you must learn very quickly to lead those who love you and those who don't with equal passion and commitment, because now you are the father of all. Finally, on sports. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria received $1,000 each for their victory against Italy at the ongoing 2023 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Argentina. President of the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, presented the bonus to the players on Friday night. The Flying Eagles defeated Italy 2-0 at the Estadio Malvinas, Argentina, Mendoza on Wednesday night to seal a place in the round of 16. Forward Emmanuel Umeh Lenge also received extra $100 for providing the assist that led to the opening goal. Laramboso Sá will take on Brazil in their last group game today. The Brazilians need to win the game to guarantee their passage to the round of 16 at the ongoing Under-20 World Cup. That sports news ends the World News this hour from BGI TV Current. Before we go, some major headlines. Children's Day. Buhari tax parents on cultural values. Buhari must be told he failed woefully. Governor Autumn. If Buhari fails to release Nnamdi Kanu, I will appeal to Tinubu, Anambra State Governor Soludo. On sports, Flying Eagles get $1,000 each for win against Italy. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Gbagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Prebila Lawa. Good evening.